Kale walked through the dense forest with his head down. The massive trees of Pandora stretched high above him, their bioluminescent leaves casting soft blue and purple light across the ground. He was alone, as he had been for many seasons now. The Umatakaya tribe had cast him out 3 years ago, and the memory of that day still burned in his heart like a fire that would not die. He had been born different. While other Na'vi children grew tall and strong, Kale remained smaller than the rest. His left arm had never developed properly, hanging slightly weaker than his right. The elders whispered that he was cursed, that Ewa had marked him as unworthy. His own father, a respected hunter named Suti the Elder, could not look at him without shame filling his eyes. The day of his banishment came when Kale failed his Iknamaya, the rite of passage where a young Na'vi must bond with an Ikran, the great flying creatures of the mountains. He had climbed the floating mountains with the other young warriors. He had found an Ikran willing to bond with him. But during the bonding ceremony, his weak arm had failed him. He had fallen, and though he survived, the shame was too great. The tribe council decided he was not meant to be one of them. His father did not speak in his defense. His mother wept, but said nothing. Only his younger sister, Naturi, had screamed and fought as the warriors led him to the edge of their territory. She had promised to find him, but he had not seen her since. Now Kale survived alone in the deep forest, far from his people. He had learned to hunt with one strong arm. He had learned to climb and run and hide. The forest had become his teacher, and loneliness had become his only companion. One morning, Kale heard strange sounds echoing through the trees. They were not the sounds of any creature he knew. He moved silently through the undergrowth, his feet making no noise on the soft moss. What he found made him freeze in his tracks. A sky person was trapped beneath a fallen tree. The human was a female with dark hair and pale skin. She wore the strange breathing mask that sky people needed to survive on Pandora. Blood pooled beneath her leg, and her breathing was quick and panicked. Around her, a pack of viper wolves circled, their 6 legs carrying them closer with each pass. Kale knew he should leave. The sky people had brought destruction to Pandora. They had burned forests and killed his kind. Every Na'vi child learned to fear and hate them. But something in the woman's eyes stopped him. She was afraid, yes, but there was also determination. She was not screaming or crying. She was trying to free herself, pushing against the tree with all her strength, even as the predators closed in. Before he could think, Kale was moving. He dropped from the trees with his hunting knife drawn. The viper wolves turned toward him, snarling. He was smaller than most Na'vi warriors, but he was fast. He had spent 3 years fighting alone, and he had learned tricks that no trained warrior would know. He used his size to his advantage, rolling beneath the first viper wolf's attack and slashing at its legs. He threw dirt into the eyes of the second. When the pack leader lunged at him, Kale grabbed a hanging vine and swung up, bringing his knife down on the creature's back. The viper wolves, sensing this was not easy prey, retreated into the shadows. The human woman stared at him with wide eyes. Kale approached carefully and examined the fallen tree. It was too heavy for her to move, but with his strength and knowledge of leverage, he managed to lift it just enough for her to pull herself free. Her leg was badly injured, and she could not walk. The woman spoke words he did not understand at first. But slowly, memories of his childhood came back. The elders had taught some words of the sky people's language, warning them to know their enemy. The woman was saying thank you. She was saying her name was Dr. Sarah Chun. She was saying she was not a soldier. Kale carried her to his hidden shelter, a small cave behind a waterfall. He treated her wound with healing plants, the same ones his mother had taught him to use before everything fell apart. Sarah watched him work with curiosity and something like respect. Over the following weeks, Sarah healed slowly. Kale brought her food and water. They learned to communicate, mixing words from both languages with gestures and expressions. Sarah was a scientist, she explained. She studied plants and wanted to understand Pandora, not destroy it. She was nothing like the soldiers Kale had learned to hate. Sarah noticed things about Kale that no one else had ever seen. She watched how he used tools designed for his weaker arm. She saw how he had adapted every hunting technique to work with his body. She called him ingenious. She said on Earth there was a word for people like him: survivor, innovator, hero. No one had ever called Kale a hero before. When Sarah was strong enough to walk, she did not leave. She asked if she could stay and learn from him. Kale, who had been alone for so long, found himself saying yes. They became partners, then friends. Sarah taught him about the stars and the places beyond Pandora. Kale taught her the secrets of the forest that even the Omaticaya did not know, secrets he had discovered in his years of exile. Then the darkness came. Kale woke one night to the smell of smoke. He climbed the tallest tree and saw flames in the distance, exactly where his old village stood. Through the haze, he could see the shapes of massive machines, the kind the sky people used for war. But these were not normal soldiers. Sarah explained with horror in her voice that they were mercenaries, rogue humans who had returned to Pandora to take what they wanted without any rules. The Omaticaya were in danger. His father was in danger. His mother, Nairi. Kale stood at a crossroads. The tribe had abandoned him. They had called him worthless and cast him out like garbage. He owed them nothing. But when he closed his eyes, he saw his sister's face as the warriors dragged them away. He heard her promise to find him. He told Sarah to stay hidden. Then he ran toward the flames. The battle was chaos. The mercenaries had technology and firepower. The Na'vi had courage and knowledge of the land, but they were being pushed back. Kale saw warriors he had grown up with falling beneath the machines. He saw the Tree of Voices burning, its ancient wisdom turning to ash. And then he saw his father. Tsuti, the elder, stood alone against a metal walker, his bow useless against its armor. The machine raised its weapon to strike him down. Kale did not think. He moved. He had spent 3 years learning every weakness of the forest, every hidden path, every trap that nature had set. Now he used that knowledge. He led the walker into a field of explosive seed pods. He collapsed a dead tree onto its legs. When the machine stumbled, he climbed its body and found the place where the pilot sat inside. His knife found the gap in the armor that no one else would have seen. The walker fell. His father stared at him with shock that slowly transformed into something Kale had never seen before: pride. The tide of battle turned. Kale showed the warriors paths the mercenaries could not follow. He revealed traps the forest had built over centuries. He fought not like a trained warrior, but like a survivor, unpredictable and unstoppable. By dawn, the mercenaries were retreating to their ships. But the victory came with cost. The village was damaged. Many were injured. The home tree still stood, but its roots had been scarred by fire. The tribe gathered in the clearing as the sun rose, exhausted and hurting but alive. Kale stood at the edge of the crowd, preparing to leave. He had done what needed to be done, but he was still an outcast. The laws of the tribe had not changed. Then a voice cut through the silence. It was Nairi, now grown into a young woman, pushing through the crowd. She threw her arms around him and would not let go. Their mother followed, tears streaming down her face. She touched Kale's cheek and spoke words of apology that took 3 years to arrive. The tribe leader, an old woman named Moat, raised her hand for silence. She spoke of what she had seen that night. She spoke of a young warrior who fought not with strength, but with wisdom, not with pride, but with heart. She spoke of Awa's true meaning, that every creature had purpose, and that the forest made no mistakes. She asked the tribe if Kale should be welcomed home. The response was not immediate. Old prejudices did not die easily. But then Tsuti the elder stepped forward. He looked at his son, truly looked at him, for the first time in years. He spoke of his own shame, not shaming his son, but shaming himself for being too blind to see the warrior that stood before him. He asked the tribe for forgiveness and for his son to be returned. One by one, voices rose in agreement. Hunters who had mocked Kale as a child now spoke of his bravery. Elders who had called him cursed now acknowledged their error. The vote was not unanimous, but it was enough. Kale was welcomed home. In the seasons that followed, Kale became someone new. He worked with Sarah, who joined the tribe as an ally and friend, to build bridges between the Na'vi and the good sky people who wanted peace. He trained young warriors, teaching them that strength came in many forms. He showed them that a weak arm could hold the sharpest mind, that being different was not a curse, but a gift. His bond with his father grew slowly but steadily. They hunted together, talked together, and learned to understand each other as they never had before. His mother sang songs of joy once more. Naderi became his closest companion, the sister who had never stopped believing in him. Kale never forgot his years of exile. The loneliness and pain had shaped him into who he was. But now those memories were joined by new ones, memories of family and belonging and home. He had proven his worth, not through the standards others had set, but through his own courage and heart. And when the elders told stories around the fire, they spoke of the outcast who saved his people. They spoke of Kale, the one who proved that Awo makes no mistakes. They spoke of the warrior who found his way home. The forest remembered, as it always did. And in the glow of the bioluminescent trees, Kale finally understood that he had always belonged exactly where he was meant to be.